just continue to do it and sustain it and keep looking at things that don't affect all those kids. I mean, that's about as much as I can give you as I sit here right now, but it's basically 1 year at a time, really.
Yeah.
1 year at a time. Maybe the funding formula gets changed. Maybe we get some help with the cyber funding formula, which has started to get some momentum, because it's as bad as the funding formula. And if they could find something more equitable, you know, that saves us in the budget. And we're not looking to find anything to cut. And who knows, maybe next year when PSERS is down and our medical keeps flatlining and we do well, maybe we're good to go for another year with a little bit of a tax increase. So I think it's more of a mentality as a community that we all kind of support the district, and not so much programs, but the entire district.
I think just a few years ago, our medical costs jumped 6% in 1 year. Those are things you just really can't. If you have a bunch of claims that year, it changes real quick.
Right. And my point wasn't to make to try to solicit an exact answer now.
You can do that.
No, it's, I understand that there's so many variables. I just want to understand as a taxpayer, and with knowing the reality of the complexities of forecasting stuff like this, what are the decision guidelines? That's it, right? So if we're deciding to look at calendar year 16 with as much known factors and some good faith estimates that give you confidence in this plan, then it just needs to be consistent across the board. And to Mr. Aliota's point, if there's other places to find more room, we should resolve to go after that as well, right? And as an addendum, this is conditionally approved, assuming that you guys try to be as efficient as possible and get some waste out. That's great, but we can't pursue perfection over 3 or 4 years with so many estimates.
I think I wasn't quite sure what you were asking us.
Sure.
I can tell you this, giving it a little bit of thought. With the information that we've been presented, one of the things that I look for, and I was very happy to see them tie the number of students per program, because it gave me something tangible.
Right.
I know, because we do have to look at cuts, in my mind, how do you limit it to the smallest number of students? And that is, for me personally, that was a very big consideration when I compare some of the programs to others.
Yeah.
Knowing that, yes, the guidance will be, from what we understand from Aaron now and what I understand about how our school is funded, small incremental tax increases. They appear that they're going to be a necessity unless we change our funding formula. So those are two of the constants that I look for, and then trying to fill in where we can. And as far as our object report that Aaron has sent out, we have, and we've looked at it, we've all looked at it. There are things that have stayed the same because we continue to control, I say we, the district, continue to control those costs. And those are things that we've looked at as a board, commended them for controlling those costs from last year to this year, and then and asked them to tighten up where you can. So those are things that we can control, and that I have, for me personally, I like looking at that. I love the projected aggressive budget, and that's great, but in the back of my mind I'm always like, well, what if? So I'd rather cut where I can cut now and control these costs, so if something does fall through, we're not in the red next year. So that's, I look at what I know, what my knowns, I'd rather work with those and control those the best that I can this year, and then work on next year. If the money comes through, great, but I don't want to make promises for money that might not be there.
You know, one of the other things that's been around a little bit, and you know, this list used to be huge. Okay, as the years go by, this year, these lists are going to go down as to what's available that we might consider eliminating for budget. And also, the makeup of the board is going to change over the years. So I don't know that there's a hard and fast answer to your question, period. I mean, honestly, it's local. It's what do we have this year that didn't get, all the low-hanging fruit is gone. Okay, we can't just, there's none of that left. You know, these are the hard ones. We're getting into harder and harder. And it's not going to get any better, but it's going to be the composition of the board, whatever it is, whatever they feel is important, and what we have available to cut. or raise taxes or whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know, it's a yearly thing in my mind, and that list is getting shorter.
That's great. Great progress. What's the strategy for tax increases in terms of transparency to the taxpayer, messaging, marketing? And I ask because I think some of the data points around, 464th, is that in the state or in
State total expenditures per state.
in the state?
Out
I
of
mean,
500 school districts.
out of 500. So I think data points like that, I think comparison to our peers, I think,
Most of that information's on the webpage, it's been on there, it's been posted, PSBL reports on there, it's all on the
Yeah.
webpage, all information's been out there, it's there, it's available.
yeah, I think just a concerted effort to summarize those data points so that the taxpayer can recognize, unless they come here and are fortunate to have this dialogue, which I appreciate, right?
We do have these,
Part of that
these
answer
slides
is-
are up.
Part of that answer is the PR person was cut
Okay.
2 years ago,
There you
I
go.
believe. So that's part of the answer. Everybody struggled with getting information out.
Yeah, but I mean, I appreciate, I know some articles have been written and posted, and then the full articles are posted. I find it hard to believe if we were very transparent about all these measures, the strict cost controls, the year-over-year flat on a number of these items, the effort to build multiple scenarios, the comparison to our peers across the state, across the county, and then the relative small incremental that we're asking for to support those programs. I find it hard to believe that that wouldn't resonate well with taxpayers.
They have done that though.
They don't always pay attention.
They don't.
I do want to
Look at
say
the
one,
emails.
can I say one more thing, then I won't say anything else? There are parents in the audience today. One of the things I want you guys to think about, I decided to run because I have kids in the district, and I still have 4 years, love me or hate me, on this board. But this board will change, and keep in mind, if you're this passionate right now about things that are going on, a lot of people that sit on the board don't always have kids in the district. And if you want to make sure that it's not just taxes never being raised and things being cut, you want to make sure that you, as parents of children in this district, are involved and stay informed. Because that's the only way we can save these programs. And I know Montessori's been, you're all here with Montessori, and it's very close to your heart, but a lot of programs can go that way if we have people on the board that never ever want to raise taxes. Our district will suffer.
So,
Parent, not a board member, I tell you that.
so how can we help, right? I mean, there's a good question. I think if we don't have a PR person and the attention it isn't easy to navigate, I wouldn't have asked if I had found it easily, right? So if you can't navigate to that kind of takeaway that tells the story to the taxpayers, how can we help?
Well, it's actually letting us know that you're right, it needs to be, and one of the things that this board has, we talked about when we were running, we want to get more information out there, and the administration has been very receptive to putting things, this information has always been available, it's just never been pushed out to people, and for whatever reason, but now we are able to, there are websites out there that other people have set up, there's our Mill Creek Facebook page, and there's our district's webpage, that this information, these slides are out there in the same
Yep.
concise manner, easy to read. No one wants to go through a 42-page report. So we have been working on getting this out there as concisely as possible, and we'll do more of it. And just letting people know, letting other parents know, this is out there, trying to educate them. When Jay Himes came in on how we're funded was, I think, huge to get that information out there. When we say we're raising taxes, it's not because we want to raise taxes or we're getting some kickback. It is because the state refuses to give us any more money. They think Mill Creek is very wealthy based on housing and personal income. That's what they look at. They don't look at, that Mill Creek is made up of very wealthy areas and areas that are not as wealthy, and those kids, they don't consider that. So it's on the backs of a large majority, but not, it's the school districts, the taxes on the backs of all the taxpayers.
Right.
Whether or not they fall into that wealthy category.
One of the things that will help, and what you're referring to, is I'm very hopeful we're going to be videotaping the meetings.
I knew that was coming.
We have somebody sitting there now videotaping the meeting, putting them on, they're available.
You're on